is my next guest on Life is Good, and I'm hoping you continue watching this and tune in. This show plays 3 times a week, and if you can't see the whole thing right now, find out when it's going to play again and see the rest of the show, because we have great people here in Newport and other places. You're from St. Johnsbury now?
I live in St. Johnsbury now.
Great people in St. Johnsbury too. And when somebody starts their own business, they have my respect. And I love to get them started. If you're starting your own business, give the station a call. We'll get you on. And we'll give you a little kick in the pants to get you going, a little uplifting, because we have to help each other. So, what got you going into this? The trash man.
The trash man. Well, I work full-time for the Waste Management District in Lindenville. I collect all the recycling all over the Northeast Kingdom. I work full-time, 40 hours, and I still can't make it. I feel like in this state, in order to kind of have something, you either got to work for yourself or have a really good job. I have a good job,
It's not enough.
but I need to work for myself too. Yeah.
Well, you've got a 9-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 22-year-old.
I do, yeah.
And
Yeah, they're expensive.
they are.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, 2 divorces, and
Oh, what happened? No, never mind.
we're here now. Yeah, you know, so they live. My stepson lives in Randolph, Vermont, and my 2 other children that are mine live in Massachusetts. So I see them on weekends when we can. Usually we try not to go more than a few weeks.
Yeah, where do they live?
One lives in Chicopee, Mass, and the other one lives in Dalton in the Berkshires.
Wow.
That's a really nice area.
They know how to pick their...
Yeah, I miss it. I miss it.
Yeah, but you love it here.
I love it in Vermont. I'll never go back to Massachusetts again. I miss my people there, but when I go to visit, and I feel peace as soon as I hit the Vermont border.
Well, you know,
It's just stressful.
the
It's too
amazing
stressful
thing
there.
is, when I drive out of my driveway to go to work in New York, I was homesick the minute I drove out of my driveway.
Yeah.
And when I left my job and came home to my real job, I never thought of New York.
I hear you.
And it was so easy for me to, I hate missing the job, I miss my friends, but you know what? This is the best place in the world to live.
I think the Northeast Kingdom, I've been all over Vermont. Nowhere in Vermont is nicer than the Northeast Kingdom. I mean, like my route at my job, I drive by Willoughby a couple times a week. You know, I have like the nicest views. I do Jay and Newport and all these areas, all back roads. It's just beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I love my job. It's not even like going to work, you know.
Well, that's the only way.
It's the only way. Yeah, it's the only way. I enjoy what I do. And I figured the trash business is pretty close to kind of what I do.
Well,
I was going to start a car rental business.
Oh my gosh.
That's
enterprising.
I just switched gears, I guess, and I'm trying to fill a need here in town. A lot of people are telling me as they're pulling up now, the Casella has doubled their rates for the curbside pickup. And then a lot of people don't want to drive to the dump for just 2 or 3 bags of trash. So I'm kind of hoping to catch all the people, one, that can't afford a monthly fee for garbage removal if they're only putting out a few bags.
Well, I'll tell you something. You just hooked me, I think. I get mine for free because every 3 months I take it to my friend's house.
Yeah.
And I have enormous recycling and not much garbage because I compost and do all that stuff. But my son's girlfriend said, it only costs $36 a month. Why don't you go and... that's $36 a month, but that adds up to $400 plus a year.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
I'm talking to a lot of people that are, you know, single people or elderly.
I'm both.
A woman said, you know, since my husband died, I put out like 1 kitchen bag a week. So to,
Why, did you cut them up in pieces? And she's
you know,
just getting
to
rid of
charge-
them a little bit at a time?
You know, to charge 35 or 36 bucks for, you know, $2 bags of trash or whatever. So I'm hoping I can just fill a need, really. I want to be the lower cost alternative.
Okay, now this is the
curbside.
trash man. Where do we find you and how does it work?
I am at the Elks every Saturday from 8 to 1 and every Wednesday from 3 to 7. Pretty much I call it the trash guy's trash valet. You don't even have to get out of your car. You just pull up and I'll do all the heavy lifting and work.
No.
I charge varying charges for different size bags. The typical white kitchen bags are $2, $5 for the big black ones, and $6 and $7 for contractor bags, the big ones that are heavier.
And you are allowed to do this. You've got your licenses and everything through the state.
I am. I'm licensed through the Agency of Natural Resources. I do what's called, we're supposed to do parallel collection, so I'm parked very close to the recycling center. So my hopes are that a lot of the people, that we have high volume on that facility, and I'm hoping more people will choose that as their one-stop option to both do the recycling and trash at the same time.
Do you have any signage, or is it on the side of your truck?
I have one sign that's under the Elks that I have to make a double-sided. You can only see it in one direction right now. And then I usually, when I'm here, I take that down and I affix it to the side of my truck so people can see it. But I'm going to have a double-sided one made and put up there under the Elk sign just so people can see it throughout the week.
With your hours?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, my truck, you really can't miss it. It's a big, giant red dump truck, and I'm parked right there next to the sign. So anybody that drives by, they should be able to see it.
That'll be so nice.
I hope so.
And what gave you the idea originally? I've always felt that businesses survive when you're filling a gap.
Yeah, that's what I hope. I was doing some research about, there's a guy that sits in the parking lot at my facility that does it, and there's a lot of towns I think that have a deficiency in it. They only either have the bigger companies to come and do the route stuff, but if you live off a route, you have to bring your trash somewhere. So I was told up here that there's really no small trash haulers. They're just the big companies that do their routes. And if you're not on a route, you have to drive to the dump. So
yeah, I know. Which used to be a very exciting thing for me. Because
yeah.
I grew up in the Eastern Townships. My mother was an invalid, so she was in the hospital 6 months a year. So I would be sent to my grandparents who retired from the city to go back to their roots and become vegetable farmers. And so Grandma would want to get rid of me at night, and she'd say, "Cliff, go to the dump. Go to the dump, Dad. Take Heather." And
way to get out of the house.
And we'd go to the Bromptonville dump, and we'd search for treasure. And my grandfather would get old bicycle handles and things like that, and he'd melt them down and make. You see that? It's a mathematical toy.
That's super cool.
You have to those puzzles, mathematical puzzles. And all winter he'd be making mathematical puzzles, and which was terribly frustrating for me. I just thought he was dating some weird woman. What is that? But no, he did that for all of the grandchildren, and it was wonderful. And we loved the dump. And then he'd give me the 22, and he'd take the shotgun or the 303, and we'd go and we'd set up all kinds of. And we don't have that fun anymore.
No.
So
now it's all business.
Now we've got you.
It's all business now.
Now we've got you, but you bring back all these memories for people like me who had so much fun going to the dump.
Yeah, I'm hoping things take off here. I have to find my crowd. The people that don't want to drive to the dump. I think it's for me. It's just a matter of convenience for people, where they could just pull up and toss it in the truck. I throw it in the truck for them.
You've got to tell me where the Elks Club is.
It's right on Route 5, across from Thompson's Recycling Center and store. It's right off the Derby exit. Not even an eighth of a mile up the road.
You hear that, everybody?
It's a pretty good area.
Yeah. Prime dump area.
It's only my second week, so hopefully things pick up some. I had more customers today, which is great.
Wonderful.
And hopefully they'll become regulars. And we'll see
very
what
nice.
happens.
And do you have any time for conversation with all of them? Because this must be a blast of a job.
I do. I enjoy it. I'd like to hear kind of what's going on, and it's nice that people out here are just nicer. It's not. It's just it's different. Like I said, I've been all over Vermont, but people in the Northeast Kingdom, I feel if they can tell you're genuine, they're just much nicer.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that are just really kind of standoffish, and nobody's trusting anymore because the communities everywhere have just gone crazy. But here, I feel like the Northeast Kingdom's kind of like the one last holdout. I think of just good community type people.
Well, I agree, but I lived in Franklin County for over 30 years. I started off as a herdsman on a dairy farm, and then moved 2 miles off the farm and raised my family, and I found that was a great holdout for community too.
Yeah.
But what I found difficult here, I raised my family over there, and so when I moved here, I didn't know anybody because I hadn't raised my children with them, and it's slow. And I'm not an extrovert by nature. I love people, but I don't go out. So it's been very, very slow for me. But the people I'm meeting are genuine and good
Yeah.
and wonderful. And
I'm finding that too. It took from coming here from Massachusetts was a giant transition. I first moved to a town, Randolph. It's a very small town, very quiet, and to have to drive 30 or 35 minutes to get to Walmart, and everything closes at 6 and stuff like that. It took a long time to get used to.
well,
But I love it here. I'd rather
We have
I'd
a
rather take
Walmart.
the long drive than have it be right down the street from me. I enjoy it. I enjoy it here. Everything here is like magical. Willoughby is one of my favorite places. Just going up through any of that area, people paid so much money to come. My sister comes from Massachusetts, and they rent Airbnbs. I don't even know how much money they.
this is an Airbnb.
spend. Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much money they spend to just come up for a few days, and I get to witness this
And you-
every day. It's
Well,
part of my normal
When
day.
you drive away, Nathan, when you leave this area, there's nothing like it. And when I grew up 10 miles from here in the summers, we had a cottage on the lake. When the cottages were cottages, and so my brother and I had a water fight in the kitchen when we were doing dishes because we did all the work. No, we didn't. Sorry, Dad. No, we didn't. But we did the best we could. We'd have a water fight in the kitchen, and because it was a cottage and it was on stilts right on the lake, it would go right through the floor
Run right out.
and hit the sand under the house. And my dad would say, "Clean up the sun so your mother doesn't fall." And he'd be sitting there in this big overstuffed chair just listening to us, and then occasionally we got out the shaving cream and we'd do all this. But it was a cottage, cleanest cottage in the world because we had so many water fights. But now there are all these mega mansions.
Yeah.
And now we have to drive home sometimes on a Sunday night, or at the end of the summer we'd have to go home to school. To school on Labor Day.
Wow.
You just heard some snow falling off my roof. It's been there for a year.
That was intense.
It was. It's been doing that all day, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I don't ski in my backyard, because of the avalanches here.
Get buried out there.
Anyway, I get really sad when I have to go back to Montreal to school. And now I don't have to go anywhere.
You're settled in.
I don't have to leave. All these people come and stay at my Airbnb, and they're lovely people. They're usually young couples who want to move here.
Yeah.
And I
testing
encourage
it out.
that. I encourage that. They meet me, they don't want to move here anymore, but I have a great time with them, and they're so full of enjoyment, and they see things through their young eyes, and they reacquaint me with what sometimes I take for granted. And they all want to move here.
I catch myself having to stop and remember how blessed I am to be around this. There's like coming from Massachusetts, just to know what it's like to be there for 10 minutes.
It's enough.
It's enough. It's enough.
I know.
It's enough. I'm never going to leave the Northeast Kingdom. I hope, God willing, I'll die here.
Well, if you don't mind, can you last until you get off my property? No, kidding. Kidding, no. If you're happy, you live a long life.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy these days, I guess.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Life doesn't always go my way, but
That's a challenge.
it just is what it is.
Peaks and valleys.
It is what it is. I appreciate all the things that do. Yeah,
Do you have a motorcycle?
I do.
I knew it. You're a Harley man, aren't you?
I am. I used to be an Indian guy, but I crashed it 2 years
My
ago.
dad had an Indian.
Oh, it was the love of my life. I'm from Springfield, Mass. That's where they were born. That bike was the love of my life. Yeah, it was. They totaled it, and I bought it back from the insurance company because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
And it was
Were you hurt during the
It was
totaling?
a little bit, not too bad. I got thrown from the bike like 30 feet. I don't know how. People when they saw my bike were like, "How'd you live?" It was just crushed right up.
Yeah.
But then I went to a Harley. I have a Harley I bought last year.
They're like, my dad was after World War II. He had an Indian shipped to wherever he was.
Stationed. Probably.
No, he was home. He'd been
Oh.
released from the Navy
Yeah.
after World War II. And he had this Indian crated and sent to his mother's house
Wow.
because he moved home. Everybody lived at home until they were married in those days. And so he took it to the gas station and it caught fire.
Oh no.
He burned it up the first day.
Oh no.
First
the
time
first
we-
day you got it.
Gas station.
Oh.
Yeah, they say that was not his happy day. I didn't know him then. I wasn't born. But
No, a man and his bike it's just a thing. My Indian was the bike I was supposed to have for the rest of my life.
Yeah, where is it now?
Gone.
Oh, I just had it crushed and made into this diamond pendant.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, no, I went to a
Oh.
buddy's shop and I parted it out. You know, I had a really expensive motor in it and stuff, and I pieced it out and went and bought a Harley now.
Well, there you go. Well,
I'm not in love with it, but it's not my forever bike. But
it's not. What's next?
I don't know. There's a couple other ones that I want, but I can't afford them.
Dreams come true.
Sometimes.
And you're starting to make it.
Yeah,
Dreams come
sometimes.
true if you work towards them. My motto when I had my newspaper was ideas plus energy equals results.
Yeah.
I plus E equal R. And I got 27 in algebra, so that's the only equation I know. 27 was a very high mark for me in algebra. So I'm an artist.
Yeah, I won't let myself quit. I'm mostly enthusiastic because I'm just a get up and go person. I have an uncle that says they're wound up like an 8-day clock. I have tons of energy. I'm always going, and I'm not always going to have this. So I'm trying to make best use of my time and my energy level while it's still here because I might not always have this.
Yeah, if you get up in the morning and you have something to do, you're going to have that energy.
I'm going to try to make that my goal. I try to stay busy as often as possible.
For sure.
As often as possible.
I can see that.
I can't sit still ever. If I'm
I
at
know,
my
we
house,
had put-
sometimes I'll get up and go for a ride or go to the grocery store.
We
just
put gorilla
anything.
glue on the seat just so he'd sit down for this interview.
They had to glue me down.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nathan. But I think you're just such a nice guy, such a likable
Thank you.
guy. I met this gentleman
Pardon me.
on the phone because I was trying to get a hold of you so you could be on the show.
Yeah.
Because you're...
Yeah, I'm happy you reached out. It's really great. Advertising is something I've never worked for myself ever in my life. So I did the Facebook, but I'm not good at it. So I just kind of winged it and made an ad, and I put some flyers out in some of the local stores. I'm not really good at it. I don't know how to find my mark. Find my people.
After you meet a few people, the word will get out around the Northeast
A
Kingdom.
little networking. That's
And
okay.
you have to keep yourself relevant. Like
Yeah.
you have to call the newspapers and say,
Yeah.
I'd like someone to write a story about me because I'm offering something that they don't know about.
Yeah.
And I would call every single newspaper and say, I'm an interesting guy.
I wanted to put ads in, but they're so expensive.
No, get them to write a story. I've never paid for an ad at any of my businesses.
I'll have to learn your methods.
I have, it's true, you never start a business with your own money, but you just put all your money into your truck.
Yes, with the help of a good friend.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
Yeah, one good person that had some faith in me, and
Of course.
Yeah.
That's only one. If one does, we all will.
I hope so.
And as far as advertising go, I'm telling you this because it worked for me and I'm still self-employed. And if you're doing something for the community, people have to know.
Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah.
And it just snowballs. So I'm not worried about your business at all.
Good.
But you have to be consistent until you're known.
Yeah.
So call the newspapers and, wait, I've got one here. I'll call them and they'll pop a story in.
Right on.
And it's not to save money as much as it is to educate the community.
Yeah.
And, if you hit it on an educational level, you're doing people favors. So
Yeah,
please.
I know a lot of these communities are mostly word of mouth, I think. Just building a good reputation, being honest with people, not overcharging. I have little overhead. I don't have brand new trucks like Casella and all these big guys. Like I'm just one guy with one truck.
You don't have a great big mountain in the back of somebody's yard either.
No. So, yeah, exactly. So.
Do you just pick it up and spread it all over the road when nobody's looking?
Sometimes.
They're
They're in my neighbor's bins.
My mattress is back in my driveway. How did that happen?
They're like, who's this guy delivering trash over here?
You don't take recycles
I
because you can't, right?
I don't from my truck because I don't have the capability for it. I'm about 1,500 feet away from the recycling facility, and per law, any trash hauler that's collecting trash has to do what's called parallel collection and has to collect it. I'm fortunate in that I'm very close to the recycling facility, and that suffices. So I take the trash and I can tell people they can go across the street over to the recycling center.
Very, very nice.
I'd like to do a route someday, but like I said, this
With
is
the price of gas?
yeah, it's Yeah, a lot of people are asking me this. Why? You know, can you come to my house? And
No.
I wish I could. I just can't. I
No.
don't have the capability for it. Yeah.
I'm serving more
Someday.
people this way, and
This
I don't
is
know.
my hope. Yeah, my hope is that I'm central located to where everybody knows where I am.
You don't
and
want to be
when I'm
like
gonna
the
be
other
there.
guys,
Yeah, true. It's
Not
kinda,
like the other
It's kind of my
guys.
niche. Yeah,
because anybody can drive a truck around and pick up garbage.
true.
I mean, I drive my Toyota around and pick up the good things out of people's lawns, and they never miss them.
Yeah.
Kidding.
We
I'm
come
just
across
kidding.
so
I
much
don't
cool
drive
stuff.
my Toyota. What do you come across?
All sorts of cool stuff at our job. People at these recycling centers.
Oh.
People leave behind all sorts of crazy stuff.
I know.
Yeah,
That's why I love going to the dump.
yeah. It's like
I'm so bad they
it's
have
like
to be.
thrift shopping. Yeah.
It's not even.
Yeah.
It's like
Free.
you've got a 22 rifle, right? You go there, you set up all the bottles, so you can be totally destructive, and then walk home with tons of great stuff.
All sorts of
You want to hear a good story?
Sure.
My grandfather made maple syrup. He has a little maple forest and everything, but he just made it for the family. He'd make about 30 bottles this big.
Wow.
And we did it the old-fashioned way, buckets.
Yeah.
Pick them up, you know, I'd drink most of the sap, and he'd get really upset. But we'd go to the dump all the time, and he'd ask me to find the big green DeKuyper bottles, because they're very pretty and they're green. And so I would, and he'd make maple syrup and put it in the DeKuyper bottles
cool.
for us. And so I went to my cousin Judy's, she was having a lovely party after her marriage at her home, and it was lovely, and she's such a great hostess. And right in the middle of the bar table, it was in Montreal, that's my hometown, there was a DeKuyper bottle. And I said to Judy, I said, why are you putting Grandpa's maple syrup in the middle of that table?
Uh-oh.
And she said, that's not maple syrup. I said, what is it? And she says, I'll pour you a glass. So she poured me some, and I said, pours better than Grandpa's, because Grandpa made it really thick. But it was just gin, or some kind of liquor. I didn't taste it, but she said, no, you got those bottles at the dump, and they're DeKuyper liquor bottles, because they're pretty, and Grandpa liked giving them to us.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, you're kidding. I'm glad I didn't taste it first or pour it on my bread.
Why not?
I was like, but garbage is fun.
There's plenty of it, that's for sure.
I know.
There's plenty of it.
How much can
Alright.
your truck hold?
I have a 14-yard box on my truck, so quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
An awful
I haven't
lot.
filled it yet.
That day is
I hope
coming.
to do that pretty soon.
So everybody, I'm glad you're watching the show. I'm hoping you're having as I am, which is probably doubtful. But I do enjoy doing this because I get to meet people like this. You know, Mr. Aubuchon, Brian Aubuchon, the trash man. And we talked trash, but a lot of other things too. So I just want to thank you very, very much. And if you want
You
to
can
come
find me
back.
on Facebook. It's the trash guy.
Oh, the trash guy?
Yeah, close enough. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm such a bad promoter.
that's okay.
This is the
People see the
this is
sign.
the refuse gentleman. So it's the trash guy on Facebook.
Yeah, I try to keep it simple.
Yeah, you should for me. Anyway, thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for watching Life is Good on NEK-TV. If you'd like to be on the show, call the station and they'll put you in touch with me. If you're running for anything, call me or call the station. They'll put you in touch with me. And we'll have a chat. It's very laid back and very fun.